Hello, my name is Andrew Chunilall. As I made my way through Ottawa last week, I passed the Canada 150 rink, which sits directly in front of our country's seat of political power. The ice may be almost gone, but the bold illuminated 150 is a tangible reminder of the symbolic year that has just concluded. Celebrated, embraced, rejected, and contested, it is an anniversary year that did not go unnoticed at home or abroad. Before we ask the question, what did we learn? I think it's important to be honest and courageous enough to ask ourselves if we have learned. And can we consider this year a defining moment in our shared history? Personally, perhaps like some of you, my learning about Canada crystallized in many new ways during 2017. It helped me understand how my own personal history fit into the broader, complex story of this land and its people. Our stories are, after all, deeply shaped by our own experiences, our sense of belonging to family, community, and place. This is how we come to understand our world. My great-grandparents were victims of the British colonial system. They were among the thousands of indentured laborers who were brought from India to British Guyana in a system of trade whose labor made Great Britain a strong colonial power. Many vestiges of this colonial past remain anchored in our systems and institutions today. They shape how we see ourselves and decisions about who we are and our future. How will that change in the Canada of tomorrow? I'll come back to this point in a few moments. Fast forward a few generations. My parents immigrated to Canada in 1972, awed by this country's potential for a new life, by opportunity, and with a great respect for the democracy and the constitutional monarchy underpinning Canada. To my parents at the time, Canada was a good place where they felt lucky to be accepted. Upon arrival, they did what many immigrants do. They worked hard, they saved, they placed a huge value on the education of their children. They wanted their children to belong and to succeed. For them, I learned respect and deference for Canadian culture and Canadian values. I was and am privileged to experience a version of Canada that about 85% of our population shares. Safe, housed, secure, and able to access a variety of opportunities. And yet, as my journey evolved, I began to see that this narrative was not a universal one. There was a darker side to this country's past and present. In the lead up to 2017, and in the wake of social movements like Idle No More and the Truth and Reconciliation Commission, many Canadians were exposed. Exposed for the first time to widespread multi-generational trauma caused by residential schools and events like the Sixties Scoop. For these communities, 2017 has understandably been problematic and a complicated anniversary. As a non-Indigenous Canadian, as a member of a visible minority and a second-generation Canadian, my work as an ally has been to listen, witness, and learn about these past and current realities. Learning from 2017 must be about facing these and other hard truths, asking better questions, and yes, celebrating our achievements, but also having the fortitude to address our difficult past. Can we acknowledge our blind spots and privileges? Can we turn the critical lens on in an attempt to see the world through the experiences of others? Do we have the courage and tenacity to imagine a better future and empower those that have been sidelined? To make space for them at the table where discussions and decisions about our future are made? Are we prepared to take substantive action to redress where we have failed individuals and communities? And how can these type of questions and actions foster healing between communities and nations and help them come together to find common ground from which to move forward? Collectively, I'm not sure we're able to hold up that frank lens to ourselves yet, at least not with consensus. In fact, as recent events like the Colton Boushie case or demographic trends attest, individuals and communities remain too divided on too many issues. We haven't yet realized that diversity is a reality and a strength if done right. The Canada of tomorrow will also look and sound radically different than the one it is today. By 2050, more than 50% of all Canadians will be a visible minority. The term itself will be virtually meaningless. Take that logic a step further to question what this kind of demographic shift might mean for institutions, structures, and systems that are legacies of a British colonial past. How will these institutions be relevant to such a diverse constituency? We're already seeing signals of people deeply questioning this. What will and should those look like in the Canada of tomorrow? As Canada becomes an ever more plural society, we must do a better job to ensure that everyone feels like they belong. In designing communities for the future, we can't get caught up in antiquated ways of thinking that have left so many people behind. So how do we use this knowledge and this information to do better? Can we do better? As I think back to my walk by the 150 rink, I wonder, how might that next symbol that sits across from Parliament be one that acknowledges those types of questions? Thank you.